If you're doing a YouTube content sprint, batch produce everything, especially at the start. Okay, so an interesting week on the YouTube sprint in terms of views and also a bit of momentum is in the air. So let's take a look at what changes I enabled from last week to make this possible. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you're new here, this is all part of the Triple 100 project, which is to post 100 shorts within the span of 100 days with the aim of hitting 100,000 subscribers. That last part is out of my control, of course, but that is the North Star goal. And where does this all take place? Well, on two channels. First, the shorts are posted on a creative channel, which I'll link below in the description. And then on this channel, which is a BTS channel behind the scenes, it is weekly overview videos talking about what worked, what didn't work, the highs, the lows, all of that good stuff. And just to give you a bit of background context to all of this, I ran a similar project with a YouTube channel a good few years ago with long form content. And now I wanted to do the same to see if it's possible with short form content, but also changing the focus on entertainment, storytelling, and challenge-based content. So it is an experiment of sorts. Okay, so let's look at the goals for this week. The goal was to post 5 videos, and I posted 4 videos. And the focus was to double down on batch production, batch pre-production, production, and post-production, essentially to make the workflow more efficient. That did happen. I batched everything and it was an absolute game changer. It really helped speed things up right across the board, and I will definitely be doing this going forward. And then lastly, I wanted to avoid late nights, and with the batch production changes, that has solved that. And again, it is game changer, so a double tick there at the end. Now let's look at the overall progress of the sprint in its entirety. So we are 8 short videos in out of 100, so a long way to go still, but this week is definitely ramped up in terms of production and momentum, which is great. So let's take a quick look at the content that I posted this week. As mentioned already, the 4 videos that I posted across the 3 short form platforms are all the same, very similar, and very light in terms of production and post-production. Deliberately and intentionally so, because I was traveling as well and I didn't have as much time. But that constraint turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I was forced to trim stuff down across the board and it worked out very well. Let's have a quick look at the views then. In terms of YouTube, which is the main focus, of course, again, 1,000 is my sort of median number for the last 7 or 8 pieces of content I put on YouTube in terms of shorts. They've all got about 1,000. So I'm still on that sort of baseline, which is a good baseline to have. But in terms of the other platforms, it was quite interesting. So Instagram for the first time got 3,500 views on one of the videos, which was amazing. Usually they were getting in the hundreds. And then this particular video did well on all 3 platforms. It got a bunch of views, so it was like 5,000 plus. And across the board, across all short form platforms, the videos collectively got about 14,000 plus views, which is fantastic. And again, as mentioned, it was really strange in a way because these pieces of content were very, very low lift. Essentially, they were like guess the movie, but using only emojis. And I tweaked each variation of them as I did it. And that's the big takeaway from this week. The difference between doing one piece of content, you don't see the mistakes from different angles because you're not doing another repetition of it. You're not doing another pass at it. So if you are starting out on YouTube and you want to do a similar sprint, long form, short form, or any type of content, I highly advise to go for quantity over quality at the start. Resist the temptation to be pulled into doing a perfect video. It doesn't matter at the start, especially when you have a low follower account, a low subscriber account. The amount of people that are going to see your video is fairly minimal. So you want to just get as many reps as possible in terms of the content, because you get to iron out any problems and inconsistencies along the way. And then you post those videos and you get feedback from people in comments and likes and whatever, people swiping away or staying to watch the content. You get the data back on YouTube analytics or on Instagram and so on. And then you tweak and then you change the next batch. So that's really the tactic, is just pump out quantity at the start especially, and you will get opportunities later to take bigger swings. I personally did it a little bit differently. I tried to take bigger swings earlier on because I was like, I have experience, I know what I'm doing, it'll be fine. But that drained a lot of time, especially at the start, because I'm still figuring out the brand, I'm still figuring out lots of things here. So yeah, highly recommend go for batch over perfection or go for quantity over quality. Okay, so let's have a quick look where we are in the timeline. It is past the middle of July, things are going fast. We are here 19th of July already, and we have until the 9th of October, which is really not that far away. But all things are good, and now with this batch production focus and strategy, I think we're in a good position to get some more momentum across August. So moving on into next week, which is week 4 already, the goal is to post 5 videos and to continue to test out these lighter formats but mix them up, and then the focus to continue this batch production strategy and schedule more content that frees up time for the bigger swings later on. So that's super important as well. And then lastly, I want to particularly avoid and resist the urge to make flagship content. As mentioned, I started off in the first few weeks trying to go for bigger swings in terms of storytelling and have challenges and all that type of stuff. And ultimately, that is the type of content I'd like to see on this channel. But, and this is an important one, the thing is, this type of content takes a lot of time. And until I have a consistent schedule planned out in terms of content and have a proper cadence of content with lighter formats, I think it makes no sense to have big swings when you don't even have an audience or have the viewership. So yeah, it's important to resist the urge to make that type of content, which is the plan for next week. So that is it in a nutshell. If you want to follow along the Shorts channel, it will be linked below in this description. And if you want to continue learning about how this all works from behind the scenes, I'll post another video like this, a weekly overview video next week. Till then, thanks for watching and see you on the next one. Bye.